What's up guys? Today we're starting on the ceiling installation. Let's roll the intro. Oh wait, we don't have an intro. Show you guys a little bit of behind the scenes on our template making. It's a super advanced level of template making. You just take small pieces of cardboard and you tape them to fit in the space. It's revolutionary to say the least, but it works. We did it on the floors and they turned out great. So just going to keep doing this and finish the ceiling out. Okay. We have our janked up template complete. We're going to transfer it onto this sheet of cardboard, which we used for a floor template in the past. And should be about the right size to throw it up on the ceiling and then turn it over to an actual sheet of plywood. Now that we have the templates for the ceiling complete, we're now going to build some T-posts to help us hold them up since we don't have anyone else here to help hold them. That way we can mark them out and align them to fit properly for when we transfer it over to the plywood. We have the templates held up by this T-post, and we actually have one in the back as well. The reason we did this is so we could put lines on the templates to make sure that they line up when we put them down on the plywood, just because both templates are staggered. That way we can get the most out of each sheet of plywood. The paint crew showed up and they are working their magic. One down, one to go. All right, second ceiling board has been painted. We decided to come over to my parents' house and take some wood out of their barn that they had. That way we don't have to pay like $40 a board from one of the big box stores. And it is rough cut though, so we're going to have to rip everything down and then plane it smooth. We're finally to the point of putting the ceiling in, and so what we've done is just laid the template out on our deck. It's like the most level area we have at our house, and then we're just going to lay our ceiling panels, this and that buddy right there, down on top of these. That way everything's lined up, and then we will start laying out the actual wooden slats that we'll be using to go over those. Everything's been stained up. Some of these are really wabi-sabi. Look at this guy. Ew. Then we have the rest of these on our glamorous drying rack doing their thing. But for now, we're going to go ahead and attach the 1/4-inch plywood that we painted black to the ceiling, and then we can start putting the slats up. So I almost forgot that we didn't drill out the holes for the wires to the lights, so that would have been a big boo-boo if we did that. But Now we're about to drill those in, and then we should be able to stick the plywood up. The way we're doing this may be like a little bit unorthodox compared to other people I've seen do ceilings this way, but some people go ahead and put the slats on the like plywood beforehand and stick it in as one unit, but we're not going to be doing that because mainly we're not really sure where our overhead cabinets are going. So we're afraid we'll like come over into the cabinets and get jammed up with like a funky little space or something like that. So we're just going to go ahead and put the black plywood up, and then we'll put our slats on and go over to about where we think the cabinets are going to be, and then we'll stop a few slats beforehand, stick our upper cabinets in, and then we'll finish out the ceiling. As you can see behind me, we have most of the black ceiling up. I know I was like, yeah, we're gonna throw that up and then we'll put the slats in, but I lied. Can never trust a guy with a red beard. Actually, what we're going to be doing is putting this wall section in because this will be a closet, and our wooden slats are going to stop like right in here where this wall meets up with it. So we're going to do that, and then we'll get around to the wooden slats. Okay. Now that this is in, we are actually ready for some slat action. Let's get it.
This is what I have to deal with on a daily basis. She gets more loving than I do. This is all we can do until we get the cabinets up, but check it out. Pretty happy with the results. Yeah!
After a couple of months, things certainly look different in here, but we have figured out our cabinet situation, exactly how far they're going to be coming out. We put these little bump out strips that will be like the vertical face of the cabinets, so we can finally finish our ceiling. I've been wanting to do this for so long, but we were just really unsure about the spacing off of the cabinets, and we finally have it dialed and are ready to proceed. Let's go. Bum, bum, bum. The last piece of the ceiling. Oh, no, it's not. There's still more ceiling. Gotta build the height. Even if you forget. These are the secret nails that no one ever knows about. Final piece. For real this time. That's a wrap on the ceiling. Thanks so much for watching today's video. We hope you found value in it. Now, as always, it's time for our tips, tricks, mistakes, and cost.
As you know, we've said it numerous times, use cardboard for your templates. They really came in handy on this one as well. We used the massive 4x8 sheets, and we used 2 full ones, and then like cut them down and made our shapes and measurements based off the layout. So they're very crucial. Highly recommend using cardboard.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with ours, since everything was like staggered with the cardboard, and then also we had 2 fans to dodge, and then other things like our shower and all that. So use cardboard 100%. It will save you some cost and plywood when you screw up, because you probably will if you're anything like us. You definitely will if you're anything like us. We're not very good. We use lots of templates for everything. The next tip would be lay everything out on a flat surface. We used a deck. I don't know, you may have like a concrete driveway or an area in your home that you can do it. We used our deck. We live on a hill, so we couldn't really do it anywhere else. So lay everything out on a flat surface, and then that way you have like the perfect spacing figured out. It took us quite a while to do that, but eventually we came up with something that worked out for us. So I would highly recommend that. And then as far as the spacing goes, we used a pre-cut 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and it just ended up working out perfect for us. Really got lucky on that. So I don't really remember the width of our slats, but whatever they were with the width of the ceiling worked out perfect with a little piece of plywood.
And also, whenever the slats are all laid out, you can actually pre-drill for your lights to go exactly where you want them placed, and then be attached to the plywood on the back as well as the actual slat, and you just go ahead and pre-drill them, and they're right from the get-go.
Yeah, and we actually didn't drill big enough holes from the start to tuck the wire and the connectors up into there. So we had to actually go back once the ceiling was in, which was actually a good thing, because one of our holes was off, and if we did drill a big hole in there, then it would have been like in the middle of one of the slats. So that would have really stunk. So we're fortunate that we did just do small holes off the get-go, but it was kind of a pain once all of the slats were in. We had to go in with our buddy saw, or I guess it's an oscillating saw. We had to go in with that and cut out the holes the rest of the way. That way we could tuck the wire connectors and all of the wire from the puck lights in there as well.
Another tip is to make sure you're attaching it to the actual furring strips that you run for your ceiling and not going through the roof. We did not do that. Well, we didn't screw through the roof. We did screw through our furring. So, but that's a nightmare that I have, that we're going to go through the van, the side of the wall, or the roof, and I'm like, hold on, Ben, wait, are we doing this right?
Yeah, and Jelaine was actually pretty smart about that. On the furring strips on the ceiling, she marked both sides with a piece of tape, so we knew where it was once it was even covered. So that was a nice way to make a nice straight line across. And when we did screw it in, I don't know if you could see in the video or not, we kind of just went through and put a couple of screws in the ceiling just to hold it in place after we put glue on the furring strips. I don't know if that part came up in the video or not, but as we went with each board, we would put screws that were concealed by the board, so that way you don't see screws in the gaps or anything like that. Different people do it different ways. We've seen people screw through the plywood and just put everything in as one unit. I don't know if that's a good way to do it or not. It wasn't for us. We're not that like high skilled of craftsmen by any means. So this was the easiest way for us. Do whatever works out for you. It all comes down to personal preference and how comfortable you are with everything. And as you saw in the video, we did mount our cabinets after we had quite a few slats, and we wanted to make sure the spacing was right on that. But I think the easier thing to do would be just run your ceiling all the way across from the get-go and then mount your cabinets into the ceiling. You do use more material, but that way you don't have to worry about your doors flipping up and coming into the ceiling. We did run into that issue, and you will see that in our upcoming cabinet video.
The total cost of all of the supplies, which includes the plywood, the stain, and all of the hardware, was a total of $131.67. Luckily, this is a little bit cheaper than normal for us, and we also had a little bit of wood that Ben had already at the house that all we had to do was just like kind of rip and plane, and so that saved us money on the actual wood purchase.
Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you guys have any questions, hit us in the comments. We'll be glad to respond and help you out with that. We're Ben and Jelaine with Nomadic Visuals, and we'll see you in the next one.